Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Got a lot to cover today. Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Did you guys see this robot? Lose it. You guys, this is right out of like iRobot, Terminator. Let's watch. There's no sound on this. There's some guys in a lab and they've got this robot up on this like crane. And the robot literally, the crazy thing is it almost appears as though the robot is going after the men. Did you guys see this yet? This is insane. Let's play it back one more time for those of you that are away from your phones. So these guys are working in here. They got like a computer here and they bring this robot to life and it just starts going crazy. Like, I feel like this is our future. I feel like pretty soon we're going to have robot cops and we've already got robot dogs and they're basically trying to, program us to accept all this stuff. I think at the end of it, but that was top of the news today. A lot of people had looked at that video, but anyway, yeah, Maximum Overdrive, says Sheldon. Yes, that was a movie. That was one of the first movies we decoded too on this channel. It was about possessed trucks and buses and semis in a movie all the way back in, I think, like the 1980s. So it's here. Now, what strikes me as bizarre is that the thing almost seemed to look like it had something real in it. Does that make sense? Like it was demon possessed or something. It wasn't behaving in just a random way. It seemed to have some kind of intelligence. Maybe this is the image of the beast, a copy. I don't know. But anyway, for those of you that turned into yesterday's decode, that was insane. I think that video is doing pretty well. And I told you that I was going to look into this dump truck. Remember the dump truck that we saw in the Dark Knight film? Let's take a look at this dump truck. So I found the dump truck. This is it here. Remember, this is when Batman has to stop the Joker. And the Joker is, they're driving the streets of Gotham and they go underground. I think they were actually transporting Harvey Dent in the back of like an armored vehicle. And then here comes the Joker with a dump truck. Well, here's the dump truck. So I took a look at this dump truck. So I wanted to see if there were any synchronicities or similarities of this dump truck to the dump truck that Trump rode in 2024. And you're not going to believe this. There is a serial number on the side of the dump truck from Dark Knight. And it's S10330. So the number the letter S is the 19th letter, of course. And then 10 is next. So 1910 plus 330 is 2240 or 2024. So we have a match. Now, many people also notice that Trump's makeup looked somewhat clown-like as he's sitting in the dump truck, also matching the Joker. Now, we're not here to make fun of Trump. We're here trying to look at the predictive programming. So if you're getting turned off because we called Trump a clown or the Joker, that's not the intent of this. The intent of this is to look at these strange synchronicities that seem to line up with the whole Batman and Joker franchise, the whole Batman and Joker meme. Now, what most people don't realize is that there was a Batman TV series and there was also a Batman movie, and both of them aired in 1966. And from the first episode of the TV series to the airing of the movie was 199 days. First episode to the movie, 199 days, and they both aired in 1966, which completes the number 66 circle. Now, here's what's weird. Here are these Batman episodes we're going to actually look at a particular episode on tomorrow's Decode, and I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis of that at the end of the show today. But I took a look at the 25th episode of the first season, titled "The Joker Trumps an Ace." And you're not going to believe what I found. I'll explain it at the end of the show today. But here's the film, 1966. And Adam West was, of course, played the Batman in the 1966 TV series and the movie. And he died at 88 years old on 6/9. Wow. Let's get into some more of these headlines today, you guys. I wanted to take a closer look at Elon Musk's Starbase. Remember this? Well, this is where the SpaceX is, and this has been going on for a couple decades, well, at least one decade now, down on the Gulf of America. This new Starbase, it started in 2011, but their first launch wasn't until 2023 on the 110th day of the year, April 20th. That was the first launch. And apparently, he's now been approved to call this a city. So now Elon Musk has his own city called Starbase. Now, I wanted to know a little bit about this new city called Starbase. Let's look at a little bit of this footage here. See if there's any sound here.
Highway 4 was the road less traveled.
When we bought out here, all of this was dirt road.
And for Rene Medrano, traveling the path less taken to a hidden beach at the southernmost tip of Texas has made all the difference in his life. But this retired high school coach fears.
I don't know what that's about, but anyway, let's keep reading here. Now, I want to know about this Starbase. And what I found was that this site is massive. There are thousands of buildings and facilities and fuel tanks and all kinds of infrastructure. And it was so big that I wondered who was paying for all of this. And lo and behold, we are paying for all of this. This isn't some billionaire investing all his money into this stuff. We, the taxpayers, are paying for this. Elon Musk has literally emerged as one of the top defense contractors for the U.S. government. $38 billion in government funding, some of which is Starbase and SpaceX. Let's read this. Now, Starbase, if you don't know, and SpaceX, this is all supposed to be the future hub to Mars. Okay, this is what they're saying they're spending a lot of this money on. Elon Musk and his cost-cutting U.S. Doge service team have been on a mission to trim government largesse, yet Musk is one of the greatest beneficiaries of the taxpayers' coffers. Over the years, Musk and his businesses have received at least $38 billion in government contracts, loans, subsidies, tax credits, often at critical moments, a Washington Post analyst has found, helping seed the growth that has made him the world's richest person. The payments stretch back more than 20 years, shortly after becoming CEO of the cash-strapped Tesla in 2008. Musk fought hard to secure a low-interest loan from the Energy Department, according to two people directly involved with the process. When Tesla soon after realized it was missing a crucial Environmental Protection Agency certification and needed to qualify for the loan days before Christmas, Musk went straight to the top, urging then EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson to intervene, according to one of the people. Nearly two-thirds of the $38 billion have been promised to Musk's businesses in the past 5 years. In 2024 alone, federal and local governments committed at least $6.3 billion to Musk's companies. So here's the graph. And as you can see, SpaceX is up here with some of the top billions spent with your tax dollars, and now a city. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really care about Mars. Okay. Not to the extent of the amount of money that they're spending on it. And I don't even believe we can get there, but that's a whole different argument. But this is what's going on, you guys. So I wanted to break all this down for you so you can see what's going on with this SpaceX. And if you get a chance, go into Google Earth and take a look at this place, Starbase. A lot of star talk, isn't there? Stargate, Starbase. So, pretty crazy. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't vote for all of our money or a lot of our tax dollars to be going to stuff like this. Now, let's get into this next story because, I wanted to show you some of these images of this Starbase before we move on to the next part of the show today. Elon Musk even has this bizarre statue out in front. Was that an X on his face, or is that actually, did someone graffiti that on there? That's weird. Wow. Unbelievable. So this is it. A huge site with all these different buildings. Here it is, Starbase City, Rocket Factory. Now this is just one portion of it. There are actually several portions. There's like an administrative part, I think. But this is just massive by any stretch. Now, what else is going on? Well, Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz, America's most notorious prisons. Let's take a look, see if there's a video here.
Alcatraz, one of the nation's most notorious prisons.
Notorious for being a prison that no one really could escape from, but it's not because it's surrounded by shark-infested waters, which it is. It was the distance to land, as well as the cold, frigid waters and the very choppy, turbulent seas that made it nearly impossible to escape.
This site inspiring President Donald Trump to make an ambitious proposal to return some of the nation's most violent offenders to what's known as the Rock.
Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz.
It's a historical site. These bars are rusting. The piping in the toilets, I mean, that toilet is falling apart, but there's actually no running water here. None of the pipes are connected.
Alcatraz is a popular San Francisco tourist destination that welcomes about 1.5 million visitors every year and annually generates $60 million.
This is the oldest cell block on the island. It was last used in the 1930s, and all of this is original from when it was built.
Once a California federal penitentiary, Alcatraz closed in 1963 after almost 3 decades in operation because, according to the Bureau of Prisons, it was too expensive to continue operating, and it was nearly 3 times more expensive to operate than any other federal prison. Infamous inmates such as Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, the Birdman of Alcatraz, and James Whitey Bulger added to the prison's allure.
There's a hostage situation on Alcatraz.
This island prison was the setting for multiple blockbusters, including The Rock, Murder in the First, and Clint Eastwood's Escape from Alcatraz.
I may have found a way out of here. I'm in. Me too.
The 1979 movie was based on a true story, a legendary escape attempt from Alcatraz.
The escape triggered the greatest manhunt in San Francisco's history.
But there was no evidence that inmates ever made it off the island alive.
No one has ever escaped from Alcatraz, and no one ever will.
Restoring Alcatraz into a working prison would be an enormous undertaking.
This island is not hooked up to utilities to the city, so there's no running water here. Just to keep it open every day as it stands is very difficult logistically.
But despite questions about the economic...
So I'll put a link to this story. That's just crazy. Now, this is more of a symbol of toughness, in my opinion. Trump wants to appear strong. His ego is so big that he always has to flex, right? So just by saying that he wants to reopen Alcatraz, I believe is just another sign that he wants to appear strong with law enforcement. This is supposed to scare people. This is supposed to act, make people think he's the toughest man. But I think this also dovetails in with this police state thing that he's talking about, okay, that he's implementing as we speak with some of the legislation and executive orders. So this dovetails right into that, doesn't it? A prison island. Now, I don't think it would be that much trouble to restore this place. They would probably just raise the thing to the ground and start over. Now with utilities, you could just drop a pipeline right underneath the ocean on the ocean floor. It's not that far to shore, and they could probably hook up utilities that way. But I mean, the feasibility of this and the cost doesn't seem to all jive. It's just, what a weird thing. So let me check in with you guys, and then we're going to get into Trump's comments on due process, which, of course, is another element of the police state, as Trump begins to talk in ways that seem to erode more and more personal rights. Trump, in a new interview, says he doesn't know if he backs due process rights. Wow. President Donald Trump is circumspect about his duties to uphold due process rights laid out in the Constitution, saying in a new interview that he does not know whether U.S. citizens and non-citizens alike deserve that guarantee. He also said he does not think military force will be needed to make Canada the 51st state, and played down the possibility he would look to run for a third term. So first he said he was or might, and now he's saying he's not. And then he's talking about using military force for Canada. And there's also comments about possibly using military force to take Greenland as well. So Trump's a bit all over the place. This was why we call him the chaos agent. Nobody is quite sure what he's going to do next. And this is why we kind of track it in terms of accountability. Wow. So what else? Well, TSA facial recognition. This is crazy, you guys. Yes, you can opt out of TSA facial recognition. Here's why experts say you should. Now, TSA facial recognition shouldn't even be a thing when it comes to our right to privacy, should it? Remember just 20 years ago, the only way a government was able to legally get a detailed image of your face was with a mugshot. And that's only if you did something wrong and you were booked. Well, now in 2025, a mugshot is now standard for every U.S. citizen. When you get your passport photo, when you get your real ID, and now the TSA. So this is a gaslighting article. Wow. So they're making you believe, oh, you don't need to have TSA take your picture with facial recognition, but you've already given up your right with the real ID and the passport. They already have your facial recognition. So this is just gaslighting to make you look like you have a little bit of control when you really don't. Okay. What else is going on? Well, there was a bear attack in Florida. I don't know if you guys heard about this. One person dead. Now, this is very rare. Black bears don't typically attack people. If they do, they don't end up dead. But this was in Naples, Florida. One person has been found dead in a possible bear attack. Officers were on the scene, investigated as an active crime scene. Whoa. The Collier County Sheriff's Office received a call shortly after 7 a.m. in reference to a possible bear encounter near a highway in Jerome, a rural area east of Marco Island. Deputies arrived about an hour later and found one deceased person. The officers are assisting Florida Wildlife Conservation Commission with the investigation. Possible mauling would be Florida's second in 2025. Wow. May 5th attack in Collier County would be the second bear mauling in Florida this year. While state data references black bear attacks, authorities have not confirmed the type of bear involved in the May 5th attack. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think they don't have grizzlies down in Florida. It would have had to have been a black bear, right? According to the data, since November 2020, there have been at least 15 bear attacks in Florida involving the presence of dogs. The last attack, a dog was not present. Huh. Wow. The data states the last black bear attack happened on January 9th in 2018. In that case, a black bear attacked a man in the North Naples backyard. The man was taking his dog outside when one of 3 bears struck his face, leaving an 8-inch scar. Whoa. So something about when you're with a dog, and that's counterintuitive, right? Because you would think that if you had a dog with you, that it would protect you. But apparently it triggers bears to attack. Wow. What else? Well, Elon Musk is moving forward with Neuralink. The first nonverbal patient to receive Elon Musk's Neuralink shares a video he edited and narrated using his brain chip. Whoa, let's see if the video's in here. Brad Smith, who has ALS, used Neuralink brain-computer interface to edit the video. First nonverbal Neuralink patient to receive the chip implant is offering a glimpse into how he uses the technology, editing and narrating a YouTube video using signals from his brain. Whoa, what could go wrong with that? Oh, here's a video here. Let's see here.
Hi, I am Brad Smith. I'm the third person in the world to receive the Neuralink brain implant. I'm also the first person with ALS and the first nonverbal, which means that I rely on it for all communication. I am making this video using the brain-computer interface to control the mouse on my MacBook Pro. This is the first video edited with the Neuralink, and maybe the first edited with a BCI. This is my old voice narrating this video, cloned by AI from recordings before I lost my voice.
What could go wrong with that? Here he is with Snoop Dogg. What the heck?
I want to explain how Neuralink has impacted my life and give you an overview of how it works. I have ALS, a really weird disease that kills the motor.
Wow, his daughter looks like she might have Down syndrome, bless her heart. I wonder what's going on here. Let's keep watching.
I have ALS, a really weird disease that kills the motor neurons that control my muscles, but not affecting my mind. My experience has been pretty interesting, starting with a shoulder injury that would not heal and ending up with my current status. I cannot move anything but my eyes, and I am totally reliant on a ventilator to keep me alive and breathing.
Now, we're not going to watch the rest of this. It's a pretty long video, but how is it that people with all this money, because obviously this guy looks very wealthy and was hanging around with celebrities, there's something fishy about this, about him being a Neuralink patient. I don't know if I buy this story and what's going on. It's almost as if they want us to accept. Let's play a little bit more of this because I think there's something.
My wife, Tiffany, is the best caregiver I could ever imagine. She does everything for me, with only our kids and friends and family to help. She is the key to making Neuralink work. I will stop talking about her because she doesn't like the attention. Before Neuralink, I had to use an eye gaze control computer for all communication. It is a miracle of technology, but it is frustrating. It works best in dark rooms. So I was basically Batman.
What?
I was stuck in a dark room.
What? Wait. What?
Neuralink lets me...
What did he just say?
Basically Batman. I was stuck in a dark room. Neuralink lets me go outside and ignore lighting changes. So how does Neuralink work?
Wow. Okay, so everything's Batman right now, right? So that wasn't by accident. Let's keep watching.
The implant is in my motor cortex, which is the part of my brain that controls body movement. The actual implant is the size of 5 US quarters in a stack. It replaced the hole in my skull. The threads are placed by a robot just a few millimeters into my brain, avoiding the blood vessels so there is almost no bleeding. It connects to the computer via Bluetooth, and the computer does a lot of processing. This is a feed from the 1,024 electrodes in my brain. In green, it looks like the Matrix. This is the raw signal that my brain is giving the computer.
What did he just say? The Matrix? So, this is crazy, you guys. This is the future. And it does look like the Matrix, doesn't it? This whole green readout. Let's keep watching here.
It looks like the Matrix. This is the raw signal that my brain is giving the computer. The computer has to decide what is important, finding the signal and ignoring the noise. The Neuralink implant embedded in my brain contains 1,024 electrodes that capture neuron firings every 15 milliseconds, generating a vast amount of data. AI processes this
Now that 1,024 electrodes, that's probably significant, that number. Let's look at the prime factorization of 1,024. Prime factorization. In other words, what are the multiples of the number 1,024? 512, 256, 128, 64, 32. Okay, so this is the I forget what they call this, but it's how computers are arranged, bits and bytes. It starts with this 8 and 16. I just recognize that from basic computer science. So that's probably why they chose that number. 124 is 2 to the 10th power. Okay, let's keep watching this video here. This is important.
data on a connected MacBook Pro to decode my intended movements in real time to move the cursor on my screen. Neuralink does not read my deepest thoughts or words I think about. It just reads how I want to move and moves the cursor where I want.
So you heard that, right? It does not read my deepest thoughts. So they're trying to minimize the impact of what this is. Now understand that Elon Musk essentially is probably one day will promise that he can help people walk again. That's the whole point of this. These are the early stages of messianic-like miracles.
How do I train the system? This is how I train the system to interpret my intended movements. I move the cursor to the bubble and hold over it until it disappears. The yellow targets are just for holding over, and the blue targets are for clicking. We initially tried to move my hand to control the cursor, but it was not doing well. After a lot of research and mapping how body movements match the signals from my brain, Neuralink engineers found that my tongue was the best for moving the cursor, and clenching my jaw was best for clicking. So I trained the system with my tongue, and it works much better. I am not actively thinking about my tongue, just like you don't think about your wrist when you move a mouse. I have done a lot of cursor movements in my life. I think my brain has switched over to subconscious control quickly, so I just think about moving the cursor. This is WebGrid. It is the way Neuralink and others use to quantify how well they are able to decode intentions. I click boxes.
All right, so I'll put a link to that. It's a pretty long video. Crazy times, right, you guys? Now, guess what? Trump is tired of deporting people, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to give you $1,000 to leave the country. Trump administration says it will pay immigrants in the U.S. illegally $1,000 to leave the country. Now, here's my question. What happens when a Democrat becomes president again? Because we know that they likely will, unless Trump's the last president, which I don't think he is. But what happens when a Democrat becomes president? Well, these people just got $1,000 free check, didn't they? To just come back in. Wow. There need to be laws about the border. That it is a matter of national security. It needs to be part of our Constitution. It might already be. The protection of borders. It should not be a thing where presidents get to decide how strong the border is. The border should just be strong all the time, right? And I agree with a lot of what Trump's doing on the border. The problem is I believe also that this will segue, and they're using it as a segue into the invasion of our rights as American citizens. That's my concern. Yes, we should have a strong border with strong border policies. It should be enforced. There should be, policing down there. It should be taken seriously. When you deport somebody, they shouldn't be able to just come right back across the border. And also our economic setup should be such that it punishes people who harbor illegals. So I agree with all of that that's going on. Okay, I just want to be clear here. I just believe it's being used as a segue into the rest of us. So this is pretty wild, you guys. $1,000 to self-deport. Wow. Now, let's get into these images, these AI images that at first people thought Trump uploaded. And I believe that he had something to do with it, or at least sanctioned it. But now he's denying he had anything to do with these images of the Pope and the Sith Lord that uploaded from the White House social media account. Now, if he didn't have anything to do with this, he should be firing the people who did. I mean, this is his image, right? Let's listen to this here. Oh, there's nothing to hear here. He basically just said he had nothing to do with this, and people can't take a joke, and they need to relax. Oh, let's see. Oh, here we go.
No, I don't know. I have no preference. I must say we have a cardinal that happens to be out of a place called New York who's very good. So we'll see what happens.
We already heard those comments. So he's saying he has nothing to do with this. And it was posted to his Truth Social account over the weekend. Had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Wow. So there you go. Now, American tourists climbs over the fence at the Colosseum and impales himself on a spike. So this is Gladiator Colosseum predictive programming, the shape of things to come, where it's just like in the movie Idiocracy, where everyone's cheering, watching two people kill each other in a Colosseum. Well, I believe all that's coming back. Trump will probably say, hey, let's put all the criminals in a Colosseum and have them fight to the death. I could see that happening in the next year or two. This is insane. Now, they don't show pictures of this, but apparently this guy was trying to climb the fence and fell, 47 years old, impaled himself, and then he bled and then passed out. He's now in critical condition. The cop showed up, pulled him off of the shish kebab, and rushed him to the hospital. He's still alive, but he had to have all these stitches, 80 stitches to close the wound. Wow. Crazy. Now, tomorrow. This is what we're going to cover tomorrow. An episode from Batman 1966, literally called The Joker Trumps an Ace. This includes elements from Trump's entire life that he had not even lived yet. Trump was 20 years old when this episode came out, yet they talk about golden golf clubs. They literally say looking glass. The Taj Mahal is mentioned, and his letter T signature logo. There's also a quote in here that says it's darkest before the dawn, and a whole lot more is what we'll cover tomorrow. I couldn't even believe it. Looking glass. Wow. All right, I'm back in the chat, you guys. Those were the headlines I wanted to show you. Okay, let's let this chat catch up. I'm not making any of this up, you guys. You'll see tomorrow. I kind of want to show you some of these clips here. Let's play a little bit of this. This is the trailer that I'm going to decode tomorrow that I put together already. The Joker trumps an ace. Here, let's scroll through. There are the golden golf clubs. Wow. Then he says Taj Mahal. There's an umbrella. There is pipes with smoke. They literally say the crowning, like Corona. Okay, so that's all I'll show you. Or I want to give this full justice on that for tomorrow. So I want you guys to come back. What's going on here? This is insane. Okay. Trump National Golf Course. Is he talking about doing something like that? The white smoke, the Pope. Oh, wow. That's a good one. Yeah, there was smoke in pipes in that Batman episode. Literally, let me tell you another clue for tomorrow. The Maharaja in that episode is writing a check to Batman, and Batman says, Batman with one T. Literally Trump's signature logo. He's literally saying he's Batman at that point. They know something we don't. Absolutely 100%. Sleeping gas. Now I'm going to need a little bit of help from you guys tomorrow, decoding some aspects of that episode that I'm not quite sure what they're talking about, but it's literally pipes with smoke coming out is the theme, and I don't really know what it means yet. First, I thought it had to do with the vaccine, like the hollow needle aspect. What is the smoke? Is that the spirit? I don't know, but we'll break all that down tomorrow. And I'll show you the clips in detail. Anything else? Oh, Riddler talks about manipulating brain waves. Trump is Batman and the Joker and the Penguin and all of them. Yes. So someone had a really good question the other day in the comments, and they said, Casey, I'm getting confused. They were being nice about it, but they're like, how is Trump all these people, all these characters? Well, that's the whole point of it. It's Legion. It's all of the demons like in one. Because when you show the similarities of these characters to the Trump archetype, there's no denying it. But how can he be all of them? Well, it's Legion. It's being possessed by multiple demons. So Skies Over Spokane says the smoke is the fog that has organisms in it. Oh, okay. That's possible. What does this person say? Where do you get your numbers from, guy? You are always reaching with wild, crazy and what you're saying, but most of the time you create whenever you want with your wild accusations and assumptions. That's actually not true. The patterns have repeated over and over again. It's undeniable at this point. You might have been able to say that 8 years ago, but not now. Nice try. Nice try. The Pope selection. Yeah, that's supposed to start in a couple days, I guess. The 8th, I think they're going to enter the conclave. The smoke represents the gates of hell opening again. Yeah, there, even in Batman, in the Batman trilogy, there was the smoke and steam aspect. Remember, they put the pathogen. This was in Batman. Which one was this? Batman Begins. They put the pathogen in the water, and then they're like, well, that's not going to do anything. It's got to be aerosolized. It's got to go into the air. So what do? They stole some kind of a frequency emitter, microwave emitter, and then they shot their microwave emitter at the water inside of the pipes, inside of the sewage pipes and water pipes, and it vaporized the water, and it caused everyone to go crazy, to start hallucinating and seeing things. Remember this in Batman Begins? So there is absolutely something to this weird smoke in the pipes, the steam in the pipes. Some kind of weapon. because we've seen it too many times. Bagpipes says STP. All right. What else? Conclave starts tomorrow, leaving 239 days in the year. Thanks, April. New York's water, says Crystal. Maybe the smoke is chemtrails, says Addie. Okay. The smoky pit. A cloud of bats in the well. Yes, Joy. They do kind of look like a cloud almost. There's so many of them. The titles Abaddon and Apollyon means destroyer and destruction. Okay. Could pipes be veins? Snoop Dogg's new vid shows demon hopping bodies. Oh, wow. Yeah, J.D. Vance met the Pope. He was wearing a yellow tie and acting creepy. Huh. That was just before the Pope died, right? Be sure that you are not possessed by false ego demons. How do you know if you can't remember the real you? Yeah, image of muscular Trump holding a lightsaber is a red lightsabers. The bad guys in Star Wars. Yes, the Sith. And he's claiming he had nothing to do with those images. I don't believe that. And if that is the case, then they've got a security breach. You can't just have random people uploading to official White House websites and Truth Social. Doesn't work like that. They could upload anything, right? So that's a security breach. If it's not signed off by the president, it shouldn't go up on these websites. I mean, what if they uploaded something that said President Trump supports LGBTQ or something, right? That would be a problem, wouldn't it? For his base, anyway. All right. Check Addams Family 2 cartoon movie. They go on vacation across U.S. full of imagery. All right, you guys. Well, I guess I'm going to get off here. Tomorrow will be Batman 1966. Wow. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Much love.